Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Motorman Dan, and you are all looking at the best item in the game right now, Orcs Must Die 3, the Alch Satchel. That's a joke. It's not. But what we're going to do is we're just going to do a deep dive into the Alch Satchel. What's it about? What does it do? Let's take a look at it in game. All the same stuff we did for the Acid Geyser, we're going to do here for the Alch Satchel. So, we have level upgrades, reduced mana cost, we have increased explosion radius, we have vials triggered by damage, deal increased damage, meaning you could throw it, but if you reactivate it, it does not do the bonus damage. You have to shoot it to do the bonus damage. Okay. First things first that we look at is the game files. So here we have the Alchemist Satchel attributes. Maximum number of files of 3. Explosion radius is 350. So 150 is one grid square size of an archer footprint. That's the size of one grid square. This is 2.3 grid squares, basically, is the explosion radius. And then the increased damage is going to be 65. However, the primary damage is 45. We're going to see that a little bit later. So without upgrades is 45 damage, which light orcs have 50 health and war mage difficulty, which is the base difficulty. So it's 20% less. I think that puts it underneath, I think it's like 44 maybe, on Apprentice. So it's going to insta-kill. It'll insta-kill them anyways because they take bonus. They take 30% bonus damage from elemental because they're weak to elements. Light orcs are. But anyways, just as a general idea of how much it does. Secondary damage is 45, and that's just the explosion. So it does 45 no matter what, I believe, just one time. So I'm not sure why there's a primary secondary. Mana cost is 47 mana. And then, of course, you have this. All right, weapons protos. Let's go into here. So we have the Alch Satchel. Primary ability cooldown is 0.45 seconds. So almost every half second, you can throw a vial. It's a little bit shorter than that. It cannot multiply, or I'm sorry, it cannot headshot. And yeah, that's it. You acquire it by spending 6 golds, which would be a wasted 6 golds. I'm just kidding. If you want it, you can have it. But yeah, anyways, here we have the upgrade. So the first upgrade is going to modify the cooldown by 3, or I'm sorry, primary mana cost by 3, and then the next one is going to modify it by an additional 3, and the next one's going to modify it by an additional 3, and that's going to take it down to a total of 38 mana. Okay. Then we have the unique upgrade. So the unique upgrade for the first one is an increased explosion radius, and that's going to increase it modifiability by 150, so 1 grid square. So you go from 2.3 to 3.3 grid squares for the explosion. And then you have the Alchemist Satchel Unique 2, which is the vials triggered by damage deal increased damage, and the damage is 65. It's an override, so it goes up to 65. And that's really all there is to it. The status effect is melt, as we learned in the last video. Melt duration is 5 seconds, and it makes enemies take 1.5 times or 50% bonus physical damage here. The Alchemist Satchel does do acid damage. So, like I said, some of the enemies that you might find are going to be weak to acid. So, all right. Before we jump into that, I wanted to show you. This is a video from. Here we go. This is a video from Darth Portal, who was playing Orcs Must Die. I believe this is 1. Yeah. And here he uses the Alch Satchel in this. Let's just kind of slow it down here a little bit. You'll see him use the Alch Satchel. And we're going to try and set up a similar scenario. Boom, popped it all. 10, 11 kill streak, 12 kill streak. There you go. And he uses the Alch Satchel a lot in these videos. So obviously people used to use it a lot. That's kind of a contingency. I will say that with this, you play a little bit more aggressively in 1 and 2 because it's harder to die in 1 and 2. But in 3... it's much easier to die, and therefore you may not actually want to use the Alch Satchel as much. You set it up to get some kills and get some kills there. So anyways, we're going to attempt something similar like this with the Alch Satchel, and we're probably going to run it on side entrance. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that going. Now with this, we're going to do the increased explosion radius. We're not going to do anything else. We're just going to do because that doesn't increase the damage delta or anything. So we get a pretty accurate idea of how much damage it does. Plus Plus, it's probably the one you want because the vials trigger by damage, deal increased damage, is going to require something else to do damage to it. And I believe it would... Yeah, I don't know. We'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at the different kinds of things that can do damage to it as well. So let's hop into side entrance. We're going to run on a War Mage. So we'll do War Mage because it's the intended difficulty for the game. All right, and we're just going to lay a couple of these out. Now you can see my mana. Egan has a higher mana pool than a lot of dudes. Just going to run a couple of these down. There we go. So obviously you can attack it. Boom, done, right? Now that did not kill the medium orc. It did acify them, but it did not kill them. It kills the light orcs. It does not kill crossbow orcs. So medium. So it only insta kills light orcs as it is. So if you have a bunch of light orcs that you need dead, you can use it on them. Okay, so we killed them. Let's run over here. This is all physical damage. Oh, right. Okay, there we go. Killing them. We got to manage our mana a little bit here. Uh-oh. Well, we don't have mana yet, but we will here soon. Okay, we bursted it. So in a way, I guess it would make sense to run the increased damage upon exploding. It looks like dart spitters may not be able to trigger that, or did they? I'm not too sure. It almost seemed like they couldn't. I do want to see if the arrow walls will trigger it though, so we're gonna throw one of those there. We're gonna do a couple of dart spitter, just one dart spitter, and arrow walls here and here. Let's go to briar trap.
More enemies on the way. Enemies are attacking on another front. They've breached another door.
Okay, so arrow walls don't pop them.
Here they come.
It looks like the ice dart spitter did, because they don't get no, maybe not. All right, if it does, it's very hit and miss. Oh, maybe if the archer does. No, okay. I think the dart spitter does, but it has to hit the vial itself, which is not easy for it to do. Okay, so there's that. So, you know, is it usable? You know, I guess. Is it easier just to build traps and kill things with your weapon? Yes. You know, I don't know if there's really a use for it. You know, applying the acid debuff is good if you're trying to grow the bramble, for example. However, then it kills everything, or at least it'll do too much damage. So it's actually too much damage, and it applies the acid effect, right? So, I guess if you have like a group of runners, you know, then it could. Okay. Now we saw it insta kill all of the light orcs, which helps us kind of get through this. Let's take a look at the light orcs and Riftlord and see how much different that is.
Enemies are preparing to breach one of our gates.
And there you see, we couldn't kill any of them because they all had shields. And it's also interesting that actually bounces off of the dart spitter. It's good for. I'm trying to find the good things about it. I guess it's good for. Oh, you're kidding. Up. There we go. Okay. So it's not as good as a stone staff for quite a few reasons, right? Stone staff allows you to headshot, and it keeps enemies stuck, so that way they have to like, you know, take more damage from traps that are in the area because they're stuck in the area, right? Whereas the Alch Satchel, it doesn't actually have any crowd control at all, so it's not nearly as good as crowd control. Crowd control is king in these games. So yeah, there's the use of the Alch Satchel. So the Dart Spitter will pop it. I'm going to assume, and before I actually assume, since we've got a long time to test this, let's go ahead and pop back into War Mage, and we're going to run the Saw Blade Launcher, and we're going to run the Boom Barrel and see if those explode on this as well. In which case, you know, maybe quite a few things will do it. Obviously, Airwalls don't, Archers don't. Floor Scorcher probably will. I'm thinking whatever explodes the Boom Barrels will also explode the Alch Satchel, is my guess, and that therefore Floor Scorchers will. So let's bring those. Go Saw Blade, and we're gonna go Floor Spike, Spike Wall. We're gonna test those, and we're gonna test the Saw Blade Launcher. Might as well test this guy as well. Who am I missing? I don't know. I think I just got rid of one. Test that guy. Okay. Oh, Boom Barrel. So we can go ahead and test the Boom Barrel without needing enemies. So as it drops, it blows it up. All right, so Boom Barrel works. Now we just need to test a couple of other ones. I guess I could have just done this up there. All right, well here, we're going to go ahead and test this one. All right, so we'll see if the Floor Scorcher, it does pop Boom Barrels, so we're going to see if it pops the Alch Satchel. It does. Okay. That's actually a pretty good combo there. I didn't even think of that. Now, let me try this. Try and get this to land on it. Nope. Okay, well, we'll just have this one do it. Let's see. Does it... It does explode it. Okay. So, the Floor Saws do. The Floor Scorcher does. Okay, let me do it this way. There we go. So we'll see if that does it, and we'll see if this Spike Wall pops it as well. And then we need to check the Saw Blade Launcher. See what that one looks like. Straight across, okay. Is that in the path? I think it is. No, not quite. There we go. That's right within the path. All right, so we're gonna test these three, and might as well attempt one here, I guess. Nope. There we go. All right, so first one's first. Oh, that's a good shot. Or Spike, Spike Wall, and well, okay. We'll let those explode, and then we'll go replace the other ones.
Enemies are preparing to breach one of our gates. The door is down.
Okay, Floor Spikes do. Okay, Wall Spike does.
Here they come.
Saw Blade Launcher does. All right, Molten Gold does not. And what's our other trap? That's all the traps we were gonna try. So, so nothing else really should, because nothing else blows up Boom Barrels. But that's, you know, now that I'm seeing it, maybe this is a good. It's an okay. I would say. You know, the problem is with Rift Lord, enemies have shields, and so your first explosion is going to pop the shield, and it's not actually going to do any damage. Okay, yeah, cool, interesting. So, you know, hopefully you guys have learned something about it, and maybe you look to use it to help with something. I don't know. If you're running an all physical build, and you got the floor saws, or you got floor spikes with physical damage, or like dart spitters with physical damage, you know, anything that can trigger them, then you could throw it into like a kill box, run away, and it would just amplify the damage done in that kill box. So yes, I could potentially see it, but it's just Stone Staff is just so much better in every way to the Alch Satchel. Oh, there's actually one more thing I wanted to try while I still have you guys, okay? The one more thing I wanted to try is flyers. Not that. Not flyers. Viewers flyers. Okay. We're going to go into Aqueducts. We're going to go into War Mage difficulty. Actually, when do we have tier 1 flyers? What map? This one. Oh, this one, actually. We'll go into Canyon Keep. I will go Canyon Keep, War Mage difficulty. And here's what, actually, we'll just run Rift Lord on this because they don't have shields, right? So I want to see how good it is at killing bats. Because that's one of the things that you can do in Orcs Must Die 1 and 2 is use the Alch Satchel to kill bats. So let's give that a quick look. And the first ones we have are Vile Bats, so we're going to have to shoot them. They are going to be immune to it, I do believe. Yes. Okay. Oops. Okay. So for this one, you definitely want to go for the area of effect. So it kills hell babies right away. God, more Vile Bats, are you serious? And more Hellbat babies, okay. Is it good for speedrunning? Don't think so. It's just a lot of mana. How many Vile Bats are there? I'm trying to run tests here, people. There we go. We got Frost Bats in the back now. Finally, something other than that. Alright, here's where we'll see the true test of the Alchemist Satchel. How good is it? It's not insta-kill. It takes two hits, right? So is this better than Stone Staff? Absolutely not. Stone Staff kills everything in a much wider range, and it's just one hit. So, yeah, you know, everything points to the Alchemist Satchel is just not worth it. You got to be close enough to launch it. Maybe if it was launchable from a far distance, like if there was some kind of like slingshot or rocket launcher to throw the Alchemist Satchel really, really far. And if it exploded on contact of an enemy, maybe that is a special upgrade so you can turn it on and off. That way you could use it against bats from a far distance. But if you wanted to leave it in a kill box, then it wouldn't trigger. I guess it would trigger on stuff anyways. Yeah, maybe like on collision with an enemy, it would pop or something. I don't know, man. You guys let me know in the comments like how you would improve the Alchemist Satchel, how you'd make it better. It just doesn't feel quite the same. You know, like I said, it's easier to die in Orcs Must Die 3 than 1 and 2, and the Alchemist Satchel required you to be closer to the enemy in 1 and 2. And so I think just based upon the fact that it's easier to die in 3, kind of hurts the Alchemist Satchel's usefulness by quite a bit. So, and the Stone Staff is just a much safer option when dealing with groups of orcs. Plus, there's other ways to apply acid to enemies as well. It's not just the Alch Satchel, so you're not really missing out on anything by not bringing it if you bring stuff with other sources. Yeah, cool guys. As always, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, follow us from YouTube, Twitch, and I will see you on the flip side. Deuces.